What's going on, guys? Dropadooski here. This is going to be the quick and dirty guide breakdown for the patch 2.4.3 Lightning Wiz, taking advantage of the passive proc from the Manald Hill ring that was changed for the current patch. So I haven't done a lot of wizard play, I want to point that out right now, but as I go through this season I am playing monk and wizard, and the things that I learn in playing these builds I'm going to go ahead and put guides out and show you what abilities and gear I'm using, and also just what I've figured out and what strategies I've used to make progress on the leaderboards. So let's go ahead and jump over to the gear, and then I'll go over the gameplay with you guys. So with this wizard, you're utilizing the 4-piece bonus from Vyrs alongside of the 6-piece bonus of Rash. And with that being said, you definitely need a Ring of Royal Grandeur. So the only required pieces from Rash currently are the offhand and the amulet, with then giving you flexibility on what you decide to choose within here, as long as you get those 2 set bonuses, so that you can do this build properly. Right now, a lot of my gear is not optimal, as I just started gearing this Wiz last week, but with non-optimal, non-augmented gear, I have already downed a GR80 with this build, so it's very, very strong, and it is a lot of fun to play. With using the Rash 6-piece set, one of the primary things that you're going to want to do is make sure that you get all 4 elemental bonuses before you go into Archon, and I'm going to demonstrate how you do that right now. So with the skill Arcane Torrent Static Discharge, when you cast it you get the electricity elemental buff. With Blizzard Snowbound, when you cast that you will then get the ice. This teleport calamity, when casting that you will get the arcane buff, as this is the arcane rune on this ability. And then finally, when you go into Archon, you will get the fire bonus, as there is a little offset of fire when you go into Archon. So the way that I've been playing this build, and we'll let Archon wear off, is once you're in Archon form you put up the slow time to prevent incoming damage, because this is very, very squishy, and then you just use the laser. You stay back and you get as far away as possible, and by utilizing the Zai's Stone of Vengeance you get more damage for as much distance between you and the mob there is. And so you will just essentially be in Archon form with slow time up, blasting the laser, and for the first 5 seconds you will get that 4 elemental bonus from Rash by casting each one of these things before you go in. So I have the 4 buff, slow time, and I am shooting the laser, and you want to just be barely hitting with the tip of that laser, and as you'll see, the Manald proc will proc from the laser and your damage numbers will just go through the roof. Even with this semi poorly rolled gear, I'm seeing crits of 200-300 billion damage when I've got all 4 of my elemental stacks up, and I am hitting them and getting the proc from the Manald Hill. To go over the rest of the gear, Starfire is a very strong weapon for this build. Lightning damage is increased by 11% for every 10 yards. Right now, from what I've heard just today, there are some bugs still existing for this build in particular that synergize with this ring, to where the damage that comes from the Manald Heal is not being buffed by the furnace, and there are also some problems in regards to the lightning damage not benefiting or bonusing the damage output from the Manald Heal proc. So as of right now, the 80 that I had just done, I used an Aether Walker to get a little more mobility when I'm out of Archon, and to help me survive, because when you're not in Archon form, you're very, very squishy, and it's very easy for you to die. So that being said, the stat priority is I like to prioritize cooldown. Thus far, I've got cooldown on my shoulders, on my hands, and on my offhand, with the secondary stat being attack speed. And then you'll also ideally want some life per hit on potentially your weapon and somewhere else that you can get it. I don't have life per hit on my weapon currently because I've been testing around. I had cooldown initially on the weapon, and now I have attack speed. And just kind of playing with what I can find to be the strongest for my current setup. Let's go over the abilities quickly. We have Arcane Torrent Static Discharge, which gives you the lightning proc for that elemental bonus off of Tal Rasha. There's the Blizzard Snowbound that gives you the cold, the ice buff from the elemental. The Teleport Calamity, which gives you the arcane, and then Arcane Combustion, which gives you the fire. You're also using Magic Weapon Deflection and Energy Armor Force Armor for added shields and damage reduction, and then Paralysis. Paralysis is what causes the Manald heals damage buff to happen. So lightning spells have a 15% chance to stun all targets, hit for 1.5 seconds, and here enemies stunned with paralysis also take up to 14,000% weapon damage as lightning. Now, right now, the ideal setup that I think, because of the amount, there's a whole 13,000 to 14,000. So as you can see with my Manald heal, it's a low end roll. Ideally, what I'll be looking for is a Ring of Royal Grandeur that rolls decently well with attack speed, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, or cooldown, and I will put my Manald heal in the cube to get as much benefit from this ring's passive as possible. You use Fazula's on this build as well because it automatically gives you up to 50 stacks of Archon. When entering Archon form, it's required for pretty much all Archon based wizard builds. And then right now I'm using that Ashengar's Blood Bracer to increase the potency of my shield and just to help with overall survivability, because like I said, when you go into Archon form, it is very, very squishy. You're using the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac with for the cooldown reduction, which really helps you get back into Archon faster. And then there's been a couple of variations that I've seen on the leaderboards. Thus far, I've had the best luck using Goguk, Bane of the Trapped, and Zeiss. I think ideally when I get optimized gear and start augmenting and I push higher and higher, I may switch out Goguk for Bane of the Stricken, so that I have more damage on the Rift Guardian. There are a lot of variations. I want to throw this out there and say this right off the bat. As we progress through the season with this Wiz, I've seen tons of different alternatives on the leaderboards. We can show some of those now just so that you can see what I'm talking about. There is, this variation where they're using the Twister bracers and have Twister in the build. There's another variation here. This is more like exactly what I'm using, but there are many others that are using different wands based on the attack speed. Here we go. The attack speed on the weapon, or just the overall primary stats for the weapon. So as you see here, he has Starfire in so that he gets that increased 15% for sure off of the Starfire, and then a solid damage output weapon that has high attack speed. So you can play around with this and try different things, as long as you're utilizing the 6-piece Tal Rasha and the 4-piece Vyrs. You can play around with what wands you use, what secondary passives you want or abilities you want in the cube. I have Swami, Aetherwalker for the teleport, and then obviously the Ring of Royal Grandeur. And I also want to state that as others out there use this build and learn more about this build, let me know what you find in the comments. Talk to me about what experiences you've had with this Wiz, and I will make update videos in regards to what I find going forward that does the highest amount of damage and maybe potentially increases the survivability of this build. It is a super fun build to play, and when you see those numbers go off, they are massive. You're shredding elites. I mean, I've been in the 80 I just ran. I destroyed yellow packs when you get that 4 elemental bonus buff, and you get the Manald heal proc. I mean, they just melt, and I don't have Stricken, so I think this build is going to be very, very strong. Whether or not at the very end of the season Firebirds is not going to be stronger, I think is debatable at this point, but as I learn more, I will make updates to this video. I want to quickly at the end of this send a huge shout out to Wolfcryer for all the shout outs he's done, all the support he's sent my way. He's a great YouTuber. He primarily plays Monk, and he has his own build called the Burning Monk that you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the bottom. And any of you guys that have a chance, go check out his live stream. He live streams on YouTube pretty regularly, and he's just a super cool guy. So thanks again, Wolfcryer, and thank you everybody that's supported the channel thus far. I am going to make an effort to put out more videos throughout the week rather than one, so I will do a couple of monk guides coming up, and also just some tips and tricks on season information and the way that I go through the season. Any of you that don't know, I'm playing Wizard and Monk this season, and I have done a solo 88 on the Wizard thus far, or on the Monk thus far, excuse me, and with the Wizard I just started, so 80 is my current highest. But if you want to ask me any questions or anything like that, leave comments below, or feel free to stop by the live stream. I do stream on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Dropadooski. Once again, thank you everybody. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what you find using this build and playing with the Wizard, and anything that could help make this stronger so that I can get something out and let everybody know. Have a good week, guys. Thank you.